the Mandela effect is when, for those who don't know, I know you guys do, but for those who don't know, is when a load of people get the same memory.
Mhm.
And I definitely remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, and then
Yep.
became, all of a sudden, he's there in 1990, and he becomes the president of South Africa.
Mm.
Do you remember that, Robert?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's like, didn't he die? And then
Yeah,
suddenly
yeah,
he's back up and
yeah.
becoming prime minister.
Yeah. What about you, Mary?
I didn't know he died in prison,
So
but
you've
yeah,
got different
you.
memory.
Yes, I know he became president, and I know he went to prison for a very long time.
Yeah.
But if he actually died in prison,
You never
I
saw
can't
that.
remember. No, maybe because I don't watch TV for a very long time.
No. You see, the thing is, there's thousands and thousands of people who thought he did, and that's how it became the Mandela effect, where a lot of people get the same memory. I mean, it's like, do you remember? You remember Britney Spears,
Mm.
and she sang "Oops, I Did It Again."
Again. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember her?
Yeah.
Where perhaps the viewers might remember, and the original video was set on Mars or somewhere like that. She got a red jumpsuit on, and she'd got a little microphone going round here. Now you look at the video now, and she hasn't got the microphone's not there yet. When it all kicked off, because she had a big hit with "Oops, I Did It Again," that song, and even the dolls were sold with the little microphone on. But now
They're not there.
it's not there. I don't know if you guys remember that song.
I remember the song, but I don't remember
The song.
She had a microphone, one of those little, because she was dancing about. But now the same video, she hasn't got the microphone. But if you watch it, she does this. Like she pull on the video, you see her pull the microphone around, but it's not there. And another one, you might know this. Another one, The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yes.
The original movie.
Mm-hmm.
Did the Tin Man because he wanted a heart, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he have a little hatch on his chest?
He did.
What about you, Mary? Did he have a little hatch on his chest where he was going to have his heart?
That's the first movie, you mean?
Yeah, with Julie Garland.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have the hatch. If you look at the film now, the hatch is not there.
So how do you put his heart in it?
Exactly. Now, thousands and thousands, because I've been studying this today, thousands and thousands of people remember him having
the hatch. Yeah.
A hatch on his chest.
Yeah.
But it's not there. This is
okay.
This is the Mandela effect. Thousands of people. This is called the glitch in the matrix, where thousands of people are having a memory of this, and no, it's not there. For some reason, I don't know why.
Maybe there's a glitch in my brain.
Yeah. What about the viewers? Do you remember the Wizard of Oz and the Tin Man having a hatch in his chest through his heart? I actually remember him opening it to show.
There was nothing there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about the viewers? What do you think?
Maybe they gave him a colonoscopy with all the oil and put the heart up that way.
Willow says she's been glitching since he was 18 or something there. I missed that.
Since 88.
Since 88. She would have been about 5 then, wouldn't she?
3.
But yes, I've been studying because I thought that was the subject tonight. But there we are. But never
Yeah.
mind. It's just an interesting thing, the Mandela effect, and there's so much on YouTube with all the different. It's just amazing that thousands and thousands of people have the same memory, like you guys did with the Tin Man, but it's not the case.
Like the Bernstein Bears, and some people call it the Berenstein Bears. And
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah, it's totally different memories for some people.
Yeah.
Absolutely interesting.
Continue with Nick. With
Till
it
Nick
till
comes.
Nick comes on. So I just wanted to
Sorry.
know what the viewers, the people who are watching, think about some of these things. If they have the
If
same
they have
sort of
their own
memory,
Mandela
because
effect.
we've all seen The Wizard of Oz, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a small child.
Yeah.
Black
Brilliant.
and white TV.
Yeah.
So the yellow brick road, it was grey.
Well, that's where they introduced the Technicolor. So it could be, but if you still had black and white TV, it was still black and white.
Would you know, say Wizard of Oz and the man hanging from the tree, but you don't see it now?
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to say that one of the dwarfs.
See, I don't remember. I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, in
It
the
is
background,
Noreen. Noreen, yeah.
Dancing along on the street, and you see the black silhouette in the background just hanging.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, there's thousands of them that people have thought this has happened. The Britney Spears one blows me away because I definitely remember her with this little mic going around here.
The gold one, yeah.
And but I even looked at it today to check, and she hasn't got it. But she goes like this, as if to pull it round.
Yeah.
But there's not one there. So
Isn't it altered afterwards?
CGI,
yeah. For some reason, it looks like there's two sort of. This is what it's trying to say. There's like realities are all gone. And I've noticed a lot of strange things happening in the last few months. Different glitches and everything seems a bit strange at the moment. I don't know whether it's me or too much wine, probably. Who's that? Sing it again.
Oh, you
Tim.
are. Yes,
no.
yes.
We'll do a duo. I'll be Louis Armstrong and you can be Britney Spears. Yeah, she sounds like Louis Armstrong at the moment, don't she? Bless her.
I see trees of green.
What time is it?
Oh, sorry, Lois.
What time is it over there, Robert?
It's nearly 6:10 in the morning.
Wow.
Wow.
Have you got to go to work?
No.
No. Oh, so it's Saturday morning there, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday morning. Okay.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
Yes.
I'm always freaking the guy that I watch over in California. He does a stream on Disney parks, and like he'll start like about 9:15 a.m. his time, which is about 11:15 my time p.m. So I'm going to bed, but he's just getting up to go do the park. And it's like, oh, good morning. No, not good morning. Good evening, Robert.
It's good though. I mean, technology's been a pain. Really, I mean, I've come off Facebook because of this crap now.
Yeah.
With so much AI and stuff on there, you don't know what's real and what's not, and all that business. I've opted out of it, to be honest. But this is good that we're all from different areas. I'm England, you're Australian, you're Netherlands, Mary, and it's just It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can all get together and chat, and then when Nick comes on, he's in America.
Yeah.
So
If he comes on.
yeah, if he comes on,
Yeah, I can shout to him instead
Yeah.
of Willow.
Yeah.
I'll be her voice.
yeah.
Do that.
So what time's it in the Netherlands then, Mary?
It's 9:15 p.m.
Oh right, you're still an hour ahead then.
Yes.
So do you alter the clocks over there?
Yes, the 26th, 27th, next Saturday.
Yeah,
Not this Saturday, not tomorrow, but next week.
that's us too. Do you go forward an hour, do you?
Yes.
Yeah, so you'll still be an hour ahead of us then.
Yeah. And that's it for me, easy to remember. 1 hour.
Spring forward, fall back. What about you? Do you change clocks?
Queensland doesn't change, but the rest of the states do, except for Western Australia, I think. So there's New South Wales, Tasmania, South Australia, Northern Territory, the ACT, which is in the middle of New South Wales. They all change an hour ahead, which they'll be going back on the 6th of April. So everything.
You're in Queensland.
Yeah.
Noreen says, thinking about it, I do remember Brittany with the mic. Yeah. But she's not got the same video, the exact same video. She's not got it on now. The one where I think he's on Mars, and obviously she does have him on some of them. Hey, wow. So what to say about that? So I've just discovered, Robert, McLeod's Daughters.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that show.
There's another one you should probably check out called A Country Practice.
Oh yeah, I watched that years ago. That's an old one.
80s.
Yeah, I watched that.
And there's the Flying Doctors, and they had
I've seen that as well.
Email was a thing because it was on one of their air conditioning units. It says email.
Yeah, I've watched that. And when I was a kid, Skippy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now I feel old.
Hey, time's flying, isn't it? Time's flying.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Oh, well, there we are.
Yeah. But great TV shows back in the days.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, they don't make anything anymore. Come on, Nick, where are you?
Nothing of originality.
Pardon?
Nothing with originality in it.
No.
Copies now. But just like the movies, it's copies of copies of copies. Like,
yes.
Like even
Die Hard.
Now.
Oh.
The live action things now, like the Little Mermaid and Lilo and Stitch. They just remade the in live action Lilo and Stitch. So hopefully that will be okay.
They're not as good as definitely not as good as
Who's that piping up there?
Oh, it's me again. I thought I'd jump in, guys, until obviously Nick gets here. So the Tasmanian Devil, I love that cartoon. Oh, do you know, there was me.
No, I don't know that. My dad told me about that one.
It was funny as hell. Hi Laura, how are you? Hi Noreen, I sound like my boys have trapped.
Have they?
Well,
there's an helicopter hanging off the cliff. There's an helicopter hanging off the cliff.
This is it.
What? Two people died?
Whoa. Tom, get your ass in here.
Hey, Tom,
little mermaid. look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has everything?
Yeah, but
This
she needs
Tom,
penicillin.
you
She's got
stop being a
everything.
girl and get in here. Noreen says, what was the show with the the boy
Flipper.
in Free Willy?
Flipper.
Flipper, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Free Willy.
Free Willy was Killer Whale.
There was a cabaret show that I went to one time down in on the Gold Coast at a place called Dracula's, and when they had 3 different meals. They had fish, they had lamb, or they had steak. And if anyone ordered the fish, they'd come out singing, "They called him Flipper, Flipper."
Do you know, right, years ago, my dad put me off corned beef for a good while because my dad knew I was into horses and I absolutely loved horses.
Mhm.
And he says to me one day, "Do you know where corned beef comes from?" And I went, "Where?" And he went, "Horses. Do you know I never ate it for years after?" Because I was so, like, I look at what
Traumatized.
the Australians eat, I look at what the Americans eat. I mean, ostrich, alligator, you know, it's things like that. I'm like, I'll never put near my mouth. There's not a chance, hope in hell.
They tried to convince us that bubblegum came from horses' hooves and cow
Yeah.
hooves.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
Gelatin. Yeah.
I'll
Boiled
pinch
down
my
bones.
nose and
Boiled
go,
down bones, wasn't it?
Yeah.
yeah. Tom says, "I cannot get on right now. I'm doing dishes and stuff for Dad." Oh, Noreen, come on. There's Noreen, let the side down. I've tried alligator, it was horrible. Oh,
I've tried crocodile, and that's more like a fishy chicken.
a
Yeah.
fishy chicken.
Yeah.
It sounds like surfing turf.
Could be. Yeah. Leafing beef.
Oh no. See, even if I was desperate, I wouldn't eat alligator. Definitely wouldn't. But then
Yeah.
again, we don't really know what our food's getting made of.
Well, I have in the fridge right now, I've got kangaroo steaks,
Oh my
and
god.
they are one of the leanest meats there is. There's no fat on them because it all gets burned off because they're hopping around all the time.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
you know
Like,
that way where you say to yourself, yeah, but if you were in the Australian outback, which I wouldn't be because I would be petrified I'd
You
be
don't
walking
have
about
a
and
crocodile Dundee to go with you to tell you you can live on it, but it tastes like shit.
listen, I'll tell you, I'll have fucking stilts before I'll go in the Australian outback because I'll be watching down in the ground for these snakes.
Yeah.
the witchy
spiders.
bugs, are they? Them big witchy bugs.
Witchy grubs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grubs.
Yeah. Get one of them down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're about that big and probably that round.
Yeah.
So they do have a lot of protein.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stick
can't-
one in the mouth, but yeah.
Just eat it.
we've
Just
become the
eat
food
it. Just
channel.
swallow it.
Stick it on a hook and use it as bait. Yeah, that'd be
I've
something
seen,
real.
I've seen some of the sizes of the alligators and the crocodiles over there, and I'm just like, oh, but definitely, there's just one of those ones of there's just some things that you just think to yourself, oh, no, there's no way that I would try. So here's
One of the cattle musterers out up this way, they one of them killed one of the 15-meter crocodile that was in the river because he was afraid that it would go after his stock, after his cows. So he got in trouble after they found out that it was him that did it. Like they're protected, but they do get some of the ones that get a bit unruly, they'll catch them in the river and transport them to a place called what is it? It's can't remember the name, but it's between here and Emu Park, and like it's a crocodile farm, Karana Crocodile Farm, And they have a whole heap of crocodiles in there. They have tourists that go in there and they do big shows with the crocodiles. They'll whack the water with poles and see the crocodiles come rearing up trying to get the pole. And they'll feed them, I think, whole chickens. Just dangle the chicken out on a wire on a string, and they'll come out of the water nearly all the way up and just balancing on their tail, basically. Yeah,
what is your guys' opinion now? We spoke about it. Well, you guys spoke. Well, it wasn't even you guys. It was your last night's guys. We're speaking about a bit about obviously the JFK stuff is starting to come out. Now I read today.
I've not heard nothing about it, to be honest with you. I
Well,
don't watch the news
today-
or nothing.
Well, today I read on somebody's Facebook about the document that got leaked. It was from David Jung. Now, we will have David Jung on at some point as a guest. And he leaked a document that's basically that, no, come on, it's a conspiracy theory we all know, right?
Yeah.
That it was CIA involvement.
Yeah,
And he had leaked one that obviously had proved that Oswald was innocent in what had happened. What do you think about the files that are getting leaked? I mean, why is Donald Trump doing this now? Really? What's your guys' opinion on it?
I do have a strong opinion. There's a lot going on in Europe, and a bird of prey has two wings. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh, Mary, you're letting the side down. Just say it as you see it.
We had a prime minister who ruined our country and was talking shit about Donald Trump for 4 years. And he got reelected this year and was one of the first who jumped into the plane to meet up with him, because he now is head of NATO and still is pushing towards war. I have a strong opinion about that. And because it's very close to home, my grandparents had to flee. My uncle was in a camp and almost starved to death. And now the bleep is trying to force us into a war again.
That was a lot of bleeping. I could imagine Mary sitting there with a whole load of F's stuck in her head.
Yes, and something with a mother in front of it, and
yeah. I do think it's a distraction technique, is Noreen saying, because that's what Noreen's saying is distraction.
Yeah,
it's absolutely, and it's for us very difficult to get real information. Everything they tell is
fabricated or lies or something.
Yes, exactly.
I think they've taken the book of the magicians and realized, oh, if we say something is over here, they'll look over here while we're doing something dodgy over this way.
Would you not say though?
Absolutely.
Would you not say though that Donald Trump's shooting himself in the foot, really? Because if he's opening up these files, and if these files are real, I'm just going to say real because I'm still very sceptical on this, right? If these files are 100% real, right, do you not think that he's really shooting his own country in the foot? Because there could be a lot of shit fun else that comes out that obviously could tie CIA to a lot. Think a lot of the conspiracy theories that people say, CIA hand, UFOs, 9/11, JFK. And I feel
Montov.
I'm very
Okay.
skeptical on
Mm.
this, but I don't know if I actually believe that these documents are real, and I'll tell you why. Because there's just something quite off. Why now, sort of thing.
Mm.
Why? How? How do we know these documents are real? I mean, I could write a letter just now, and pass it off as, this is the document that
Mm.
proves that Mary had a hand in a heist. Doesn't it mean it's real? And it's kind of like, I just don't get Donald Trump's logic of thinking. Why would you want to shoot your own country in the foot? Because what you're doing ideally is you're going to make the American people mad, because there's a lot of things that are going to come out
Yep.
that obviously is just nuts. Hey Dom, how you doing? Noreen
But,
says there is usually
but,
something else going on in the background when you get leaked documents.
Mhm.
Exactly.
But by now, all the people that were involved in the JFK issue, they'd mostly be dead by now because they
Yeah,
couldn't get prosecuted or anything
Yeah.
like that.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
they're probably thinking, oh well, they can't get done in by this now, so we'll release this information so they can finally know what actually happened to him, because there was no magic bullet going whiz 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 whiz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say to my family, if something is in our point of view all day,
Mm-hmm.
let's
They're hiding
watch
something.
to another point, because they are trying to cover up something.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's over here the truth as well. Some singer died this week, and they pushed the green agenda again.
Yeah.
550 million just for our city, and they're doing it all over the Netherlands. But we had a whole day television of a singer who died, who went sick 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's
I
crazy.
don't give a flying F.
It's
Mhm.
all nuts, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
I totally opted out. I don't watch any news because I don't believe it's true. I
Yeah.
don't
No.
go on Facebook. I've opted out of it, and I've found myself, because I've been going through a lot of mental stuff, and I've found that I'm much happier by opting out
Knowing. Mm.
totally.
Yeah.
The media, newspapers,
Yep.
Facebook, just living in the now,
Yeah.
and
Yes. Yeah. I get
Uh-huh.
accused not being awake because I don't participate in those things.
no,
I don't react on those things, and
no,
they think I close my eye or my head in the sand like an ostrich. I know, but I want to be happy. I want to have
yeah,
fun days, amusing days, and
yeah,
I don't want to have a headache from
Exactly.
yeah.
politics or whatever
Yeah.
shit they're dropping on
Yeah.
us.
No, I
Yeah,
totally agree.
Shut
Um,
yourself
yeah,
off from it. Shut yourself off totally. I mean, that's why religion was invented in the first place, as a fear factor
Control.
to
Mm.
control the masses,
Yep.
and
yeah,
that's started to die out. So now they're trying it with media and politics to keep
hi Dom.
people
It's
in
meant to
control.
be Nick's reschedule of the Tri-State 100th anniversary, but I'm waiting for Nick just now, Dom. So
He
we're
just
just
said that he's coming
talking.
for his own meal.
We're going down rabbit holes.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
we're
the
all over the
joys
place.
of
Whatever.
being
Normal.
we're going down rabbit holes. He's a crook, cheat, and a convicted felon, and should have never been re-elected. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm.
leave it there, Joe, because I'll end up
Yeah.
having 1,000 people in here
Have
bashing
any,
each other
yeah.
over the
With
head.
pitchforks and torches, yeah.
Yeah, definitely,
have,
definitely.
have any of you guys heard of the Kybalion?
No.
This book, I tell you,
Oh, that's shiny. Oh, I
Oh
seen it was
my God,
shiny.
that'll
Yeah.
That
change your
looks
life.
interesting.
That book will change your life. I'm telling you. Hermes Trismegistus is it's amazing. It's amazing. It's 7 principles that we should be living by.
Well, I'm not going to
You,
read it because I'll end up I've probably broke the page 1 to
you, can,
101.
you can get it free. Just Google. You can get a free PDF download on the internet. Google
Ah,
the Kybalion.
what to do is, well, I'm dyslexic, so there's no chance I'm spelling that. But what to
What
do is, if you message me at Sweet Pea, that would be
it's
brilliant. Thank you.
Kybalion.
You expect me to remember that with my fibro brain? Are you kidding me? I can't
No,
even remember.
I'm being serious. It's so, and you can. It's all on YouTube as well. It's all there, and
Ah.
just these 7 principles make so much sense if you look at it.
Know what we should do for a
It's mind
subject one
blowing.
night when you're talking about the 7 there, when you're talking about
Yeah,
obviously the
yeah.
7 rules there.
It's
Um,
how the universe is mental. It's all a big brain and polarity and stuff like that. It's just so interesting.
I was actually going to turn around and say about the 7 deadly sins. Trust me to think of sins, but
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah. You would.
Ah,
Nick's not coming on now. It's 20 to 8 now, nearly.
oh, guys, please. Um, I'm working on my last documentary. Oh, Dom, what's your documentary about? I didn't realise you done documentaries. But yeah, it's definitely. But going back to the Mandela effect, there's quite a lot of it that happens. You see videos. There's one video on YouTube that I was memorised by, and it's of a van. Now, obviously, it's
Yeah,
CCTV footage,
I know the
and
one you're going to say.
obviously there's no one in the car park at that point. There's a van that pulls up, and it just drives it doesn't pull up. It just drives through, and suddenly out of nowhere, there's a gentleman standing. I was watching this last night on YouTube because I do a lot of my research on YouTube
Yeah.
subject
Love you.
to think of, and there's a lot of YouTubers that I watch. When I started BBC TV, this was a paranormal network. Yeah, Tom told me. Tom, I've actually never ever met yourself, Tom. We should get you on one night as a guest. Don says I have. Dom says I have a journey. Oh, interesting. What is your journey, Dom? But I watch a lot of YouTubers. And some of the stuff that they research. My personal YouTuber favourite is Y Files with AJ and Hecklefish. If you guys have never seen it, honestly, I know it sounds like what the, but seriously, go check it out because AJ's so knowledgeable. It's unbelievable, and Hecklefish is just funny. Nick must have gotten lost, yeah. It'll be in soon. I have faith. I have faith. Um, but definitely. So, what's the latest news on ufology? What's been happening in the ufology land?
I've not
I
seen
have
much.
no clue.
No,
Oh,
I know. There's a lot going on over Pendle Hill at the moment with
Oh,
sky watching
Nick,
and
Nick is just
people.
coming on in 5 minutes.
Okay.
again?
Yeah.
Oh my god. It just came out without thinking.
Mary, I'll be flying to the Netherlands with a ball and gag. I'll be like, I'll be
Oh
flying.
my god. Oh,
Do you know
There's a whip as well.
Do you know, I would have never expected something like that out your mouth. And do you know, I'm not speechless. I can't even think what my brain was going to say next.
I was
You
in,
amaze me.
but I was in the beginning in the lives very quiet because I have stage fright and I'll start to stutter and I get such a red head. So I kept quiet and listened because I couldn't make up what Willow was saying. And I got nervous, but if you know me, my mom say I'm just not fit for an asylum, but just not.
This
Just an inch not. Yeah.
Do you know what?
It's
A
silent.
lot of people struggle with my accent, but see, the longer you spend with me, the more you get to understand
You
me,
pick up more.
and
Yeah.
you're like that. You'll find yourself. You'll go off and you'll say, "Aye,
I
you should not have stage fright. I'm watching you. You are doing great there. You've got a compliment off of Dom. Dom is the co-founder with Tom for BB3 TV. We'll need to definitely get you on, Dom. We can't have one without the other. Mr. Tom is busy with his dad just now, so he should make an appearance. I don't know. He's some man. Hmm. See, this is what I'm
everyone is
thinking about.
interesting. He
Yeah,
should come on. Yeah.
definitely. If you want, Dom, I'll drop you a friend's request and I'll definitely get you hooked up. That sounds like I'm asking for a date.
Why are you gonna
You
you
are.
two-timing me now?
Not sweetheart. You are the only love of my life, the apple of my eye, the wine in my glass. You know, but definitely, I can't think off the top of my head, Dom. But what I'll do is I'll look at my blue folder. Noreen she always laughs about my blue folder because half the time I lose my blue folder, and she'll be like, "Do you remember where you put it this time?" And I'm like, "No."
Why
Um,
hasn't Noreen been on anyway?
Noreen has been on. Noreen commented.
No, I mean on.
On the show.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
on the show.
Yeah.
I've asked. I'm sure I've asked Noreen. Noreen, have I asked you? We could talk about cryptids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about the.
Everything's kicking off at the moment. There's been so many sightings and strange things going on. It's great.
Oh,
Well, I'm
tell
a
me
bit
more.
jealous. I really am jealous because I don't hear anything about cryptids here. Just
Oh,
Shane
yeah.
had one
Oh.
or two stories, but
Oh, God knows more. Noreen, I can't even remember what I did last week. Never mind what I did whenever. Terrible. But do you know what? It's one subject. Skeptical, obviously, about Nessie. I don't believe in Nessie. I think that's a load of shite. But things like, just say it as you see it, Lois. But like the Bigfoot, I'm keen on the Bigfoot. I like the Bigfoot. Sasquatch, me.
So many
Joe's
sightings.
favourite subject is cryptids. But yeah, why no the Netherlands?
I don't know. I think the Americans stole them. I had a podcast 6 years ago with Yes, and he was doing Skinwalker Ranch, and he asked me also, and I told him I've never heard of it, but that's because you have Bigfoot, Mothman, you have
Yeah.
everything, and that's
Well,
also the reason why I didn't fly over to America, because they have all those scary things.
we call Bigfoot in England woodwows, the woodwows, and
Okay,
it's been documented since Christ about the 12th century. People have been seeing these things. We call them the
yeah.
woodwows. Yeah, the wild man of the woods. Yeah.
Well, in history, we have them as well. They ate women and children, but sightings, no.
No.
Just one about 5 years ago, but that was an April Fool's joke.
Ah, right.
You have got
Yeah.
the Bigfoot, and Shane, you've got the Bigfoot.
No, I've heard yesterday that he's not that tall, 5'9".
Oh, he's not at all 5'9". How tall is Shane?
No, we had yesterday Barry John, and he's
Oh,
6'3". He is
Barry,
huge.
I absolutely love Barry John. In fact, guys,
Yeah,
on Thursday, that's who we're going to have on our show, is Barry John. Barry John is one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. He's got
It used
such
to
yeah.
a
be.
great nature.
He used to be a Welsh rugby player, Barry John.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Ah, but
Probably.
still he
Probably.
is huge.
Probably not the same one.
Oh,
Yeah,
but he is. He's a handsome fella. He keeps calling me a creep. But that's just a running joke between us, between me and Barry John. I'll say, hello, you big handsome man, and he'll say, go away, you creep. He's just, honestly, he's one of the most mild-mannered people I've ever met in my life. He's just got a gentle, loving way about him. In fact, he
yeah.
actually puts me in mind of Ad.
Ord. AAD, yeah.
I absolutely love him. How is he doing, Mary? A lot
Excuse
better.
me again.
How is
Ord.
Ad?
Art, still recovering. I'm planning to drive over. I think next week. Um, he's still not the same. He's still grieving over his dog, problems with his new dog.
Oh God,
He
that boy,
broke
that
his.
guy never.
Yes, it's so sad.
Oh,
So I'm worried about him because he's not on a live.
Yeah.
It takes time before he answers. So I want to see for myself if he's okay.
right.
Well, when you
Well,
do, give him the best from Australia.
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
We are
Give
going
him the
to
best
do
of them.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said I asked him to come on the network, the NNW, and he is thinking about it. So if he may
See,
recover,
Tell him, don't think about it, just do it.
see,
yes,
honestly. Oh, sorry, Mary, on you go, lovey.
I think he's going to love it because he can do whatever he wants,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's not that expensive as the
Hey,
former network.
hey, Andy, how's it going, love? The hot dog was made up to attract tourists. Dom says be interested for you to hear. Sorry, guys, my voice is
The
starting to
story of
go.
PB3 TV.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm down and beyond, even when it stands for you. So for what it stands for. You have a good show here. Thank you. I'm out. Talk soon.
thank you
Yep.
very much, Robert.
You're welcome.
Right, next week, guys, before Nick comes on, so next Thursday on the Mystical Carousel show, we will have Barry John on. He is a sidekick medium, and he's the most loveliest. Oh, honestly, I'll be sitting there listening to him very quietly. Love his voice. Next
Yes,
Friday.
he's really very talkative.
Oh yes, I just love him. He's just love. Next Friday, guys,
Mm-hmm.
we'll
Let's
do the
drop him
time.
Mm-hmm.
On you go, Lovey.
You won't be ready for it. Mm.
We'll be waiting.
Next Friday, definitely, we'll do the time glitches and the dimensions.
Yep.
Cool.
Because it was meant to be ladies' night, but I can't run it because my voice is just.
All over the place.
Yep.
Mm.
Oh no, I won't say that.
How are you got to say your cheeky bugger? Come on, smack me with it.
No.
Do you know what? I'm coming after you after the show tonight. We'll see if you're laughing then.
She'll
When I-
unfurl her leather whip.
Well, I'll smack.
Hey.
Look who's dropped in!
I've been saved by the bear. I've been saved by the Nick.
Only.
Hey, I've just been saved. I've just been saved. Nick.
What's up, guys?
I was due to give your ass another beating, boy. Quickly, before I go, guys. So, Tim, I'll phone you after the show so I can kick your ass. Nick,
Yeah.
I'm going to kick your ass tomorrow night because I probably have no voice by then. But, guys, I just want to say thank you very much for everything.
The lady. My lady.
Yeah.
My dear lady. I can't even do it.
No, it's not. It's not gonna let you.
No, no voice left.
No.
Ah.
Use it all up while Nick was getting here.
And then,
Yeah, well, for starters, I'm so sorry I was later than I was expected, and it was not necessarily Nick time. We were caught in traffic of trying to get back home, and it took a lot longer than expected for me to get back. So I was
Yeah.
not happy with the results.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Next time if we go on, it's a quarter past Nick time.
yeah. Nick time.
Just tell him it starts about an hour and a half earlier, and he might get there in time.
Yeah.
If I could do that from my phone, I definitely would have if it was that easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I know Lois is just, actually, I should have said this to Lois. I mean, I know she's still
She's
there.
there.
But when I start putting the screen out, you're going to have to share this. Changing bloody types. You're going to have to share out the screen to me so I could you can show the slideshow because I can't do that from my side, unfortunately. So obviously, again, I'm sorry I also wasn't there yesterday. I was having a lot of problems, but I'm glad to be here. But first off, I just gotta ask, did any of you guys see part 1 from the other day when I was covering the tri-state tornado?
Not me.
No, I had a podcast of my own. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I forgot about I forgot you guys had your show. Well,
Yeah.
to kind of just give a little reprise, as you guys know, I was doing the slideshow that was to represent the 100th anniversary of the Great Tri-State Tornado of March 18th, 1925, which to this day represents the deadliest single tornado in U.S. history. It also holds the record for being holding one of the longest continuous paths ever of a tornado, which supposedly it traveled through 3 states, which was through southern Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, covering a full 219 miles, although we recently discovered it may have actually been 10 to 15 miles longer than that, which brings the full length to 234 miles in total. Now, I was really doing a timeline of where this tornado struck, and where we ended up last time was we were talking recently about the hardest hits, which was the towns of Murfreesboro and DeSoto, which Murfreesboro itself holds the record for probably the most loss of lives. It killed 234 people there alone. And in nearby DeSoto, and this is quite a tragedy, this tornado also holds the record, sadly, for the most student deaths recorded in a tornado. A lot of kids died from this, including 33 alone in DeSoto's school. So where we were ending up, we got to the halfway point of where this tornado was, and it was heading right towards the town of West Frankfort. And I don't know if I'm going to have as many clips as I did the first time. I think I'll probably still have a few of them, but I actually do have clips of actual survivors who were, these were filmed like 25, 30 years ago. So understandably, a lot of these survivors, if not all of them, have since passed away since the time of their recordings. But you guys will be able to see kind of firsthand from what some of these people went through and witnessed after this horrific tornado. So without being further said, I'm going to get the screen shared. So Lois, you're going to have to share this out for me because, again, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it from my side. So give me once. I always have this issue with slideshows. So bear with me for just a second. And okay, here we go. All right, can you guys see anything? Wait, no, not yet. I haven't clicked on the screen yet. Here, let me try that. Let me try that again because the window was not showing up for some reason. Jeez. Okay, share screen, please. Yep. Okay, here we go. All right, now, you guys see anything? Do you guys see the black screen where it says history on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just realized.
I can't read that though. It's too small.
Yeah, the text is small, but I'm going to be reading it for you guys. So I had to skip this slide because that's it ended up last time. So continuing onwards from where we were. So now we were going to talk. I was going to get to the town of West Frankfort, which at this point, this tornado started around 12:40 p.m. So now at this point, this is West Frankfort, 3 p.m. About 15 miles northeast of DeSoto, the mining town of West Frankfort sprawled in a west to east direction. The Orient Mine, number 2 in Caldwell, recently established on the northwest side of town, had brought an influx of population and growth. A new subdivision, complete with brand new homes and streets, sprang up to house miners and their families. However, now we're not just going to be talking about the tornado itself. There were a lot of other things that were going on, during this time. And one of them, I think a lot of you guys might be familiar with because this was the 1920s. But anyways, however, the gritty coal mining town was bracing itself, but not for a tornado. The Ku Klux Klan was about to stage a rally nearby. The Klan was a lightning rod for the area's anti-Catholic, anti-immigrant sentiment. But its ad contained a curious turn of phrase, "Everybody welcome," as you can see in these newspaper articles. But something else was on its way that would steal the Klan's thunder. As the massive vortex departed Plumfield and continued its northeastward path of destruction, the Orient Mine and its associated subdivision were squarely in its sights. The tornado struck the northwest side of town, where in a manner similar to what was seen at Murfreesboro, a number of densely populated neighborhoods, businesses, and mining operations fell victim to the tornado, leveling many businesses and sweeping away entire subdivisions. The business district of West Frankfort, however, was largely spared. On the western edge of town, 2 school buildings were torn from their foundations and destroyed. The newly built homes in the area were no match for the ferocious wind, and most were obliterated. Large church buildings were also flattened, and vehicles were thrown several blocks. The home of Clyde Reed was reduced to splinters, killing a young child and injuring his wife and several of her children. That is, I believe, his home right there, actually. Many of West Frankfort's men were several hundred feet beneath the surface in the Orient and Caldwell mines when the tornado struck. Deep beneath West Frankfort, the coal mines were suddenly plunged into darkness. An intense suction caused the air to rush from the mine, along with the ground shaking, accompanied by a terrific train-like roaring and shaking. One man was killed when he was caught above ground in one of the mine buildings. When the miners emerged, they were greeted with a heartbreaking scene of abject devastation. Nearly every home in sight, most belonging to the miners and their families, was utterly decimated. In the words of one person, everything in view was brought leveled to the ground. Where the miners' houses had stood in the northwest quadrant of town, scenes of cruel devastation. Screams of desperation issued from heaps of rubble. Those who were fortunate enough to survive without being trapped wandered the streets in a daze, most of them battered and bloody. Miners frantically clawed through the debris in search of their wives and children. Amid the remains of one home. Now, I also forgot to mention this too. Some of the stuff I'm about to bring up is going to be relatively graphic. I mean, out of all these tornadoes that I've researched, this one probably has some of the most graphic and glorious deaths I've ever heard of, inflicted by a twister itself. So I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. Including this, for example, amid the amid the remains of one home, a mother was found with her chest torn open by flying debris, her infant daughter trying to nurse. And now the next couple slides are nothing but photographs, so definitely give your thoughts and opinions and comments about what I'm about to show, because I don't even have to speak as much. These pictures could tell the story themselves. Check it out, though. Just complete devastation.
Ooh.
Very reminiscent of the Cyclone Tracy up in Darwin, Northern Territory.
That's right.
When that hit in the 70s, it just decimated the entire area because no one had cyclone-rated housing at that point in time.
That's
so
right.
All the houses were just flattened.
And I'm very familiar with Cyclone Tracy. I've done my research on that one, but yeah, it really does. And I've had other viewers who have been watching the show. You know, like when I did part 1 the other day, in which it's a class. I mean, it's often used very frequently. I mean, you can clearly see it. It literally looks like a war zone, like something out of World War II.
Yeah.
Here's the next couple set of photographs.
Now, could you imagine if they'd weaponized the weather?
Oh my God! Yeah,
that would be something tragic to befall.
Yeah.
It really would. But it's just sad to see. Just there were countless homes all in rows here in West Frankfurt, and they were just torn apart.
Yeah.
So continuing onwards, extreme damage continued east of town as a railroad trestle was torn from its supports, and 300 feet of railroad track was ripped from the ground and blown away. Several small mining villages in the area were obliterated, resulting in numerous fatalities. The destruction was no less complete at the mines, where offices, manufacturing plants, equipment, and other structures were completely wrecked. A large 80-foot mine tipple weighing several hundred tons was pushed over, rolled some distance, and hurled partly into the ground by the tornado. And a large water tower was destroyed. A line of 40 boxes was thrown from the tracks and scattered like model trains just south of the mine. One freight car, this picture, one freight car deposited neatly atop a line of Model Ts. And you can see the freight car right here, and then just right in front of them are the Model T cars, just flatten them. The nearby homes of Alicia and Emma Clark, out of which the couple operated a small grocery store, was completely leveled. Alicia was blown some distance from the home and into a pile of uprooted apple trees and suffered several injuries. His wife, Emma, and daughter tragically were not so lucky. His daughter, Leah, Both of them were killed. Continuing northeastward, the tornado destroyed the Chicago and Eastern Illinois Railroad roadhouse and several of the buildings at the Peabody Mine number 19. Several loaded cars were blown from the tracks just east of Peabody number 19. To the north, a bridge was blown from its piers along the CEI Railroad. 300 feet of track was torn from the ground. A small village of homes, stores, and other... Oh, wait. Yeah, okay, never mind. I thought it was saying the same stuff. A small village of homes, stores, and other buildings was destroyed to the northeast near the Peabody Mine number 8. 52 people were killed. Several small mining villages. Oh, wait, no, that's... See, unfortunately, some of the information does repeat itself. At Caldwell, a mining village northeast of West Frankfort, 24 people died in the storm, later to be joined by 2 more of the injured. Oh, forgot to add fate to those ones. In total, despite only impacting the north and west sides of the town, the tornado claimed 132 lives in and around West Frankfort. More than 500 homes, 3 churches, 2 schools, and numerous other buildings were demolished. Because most of the town's men worked in the mines, the majority of the fatalities were women and children. Several eyewitnesses reported that bodies from West Frankfort were later found more than a mile and a half from their original locations. The heaviest... Oh, this is just probably the most heartbreaking part of this entire slideshow. The heaviest loss to befall a single family was exacted on that of Caldwell storekeeper Isaac Ike Carnes, which, according to conflicting reports, lost 11 family members. Carnes' wife, Oscar, a married daughter, and her husband, a daughter-in-law, and 7 grandchildren, ages ranging from newborn to 7 years, died in the tornado. Yeah. Oscar and 4 of her children were thrown into a lake near the Peabody Mine number 18. Just north of Crawford Cemetery. I can't even imagine what it must have been like for Isaac losing so many members of his family. That had to have been just horrible for him. Just north of Crawford Cemetery, James Curley's home was razed to the ground and swept away. James survived, but Eddie Curley and her children, Homer, Otto, and Bertha, were killed. The immediate storm claimed 81 lives at West Frankfort while injuring a further 410, 21 of whom later died, bringing the total death toll for the town to 102. Now, engorged with debris, the twister moved into the farmlands of southeastern Illinois. The misery of a national depression in agriculture was now compounded by the tornado. Now, you guys have probably noticed already that there's no photographs of this particular tornado. Well, that's because there are no photographs or film footage of the tornado itself in progress, because the reason why so many people had died was not just there was no warning. This tornado didn't look like a tornado. Like, as it actually, in fact, this slide will give a little bit more. Oops, sorry, I don't know where that came from. But anyways, yeah, as this slideshow will demonstrate, farm after farm was just swept away. People didn't know what was coming. It was just, as described, it was a huge grayish black mass, as you can see in this picture as an example. This is not the actual picture, of course, but this is probably what it would have looked like. It was this huge grayish black mass. People thought it might have been just a big dust storm, but they had no idea, however, though, that this was literally a monster tornado, 3/4 of a mile to a mile wide on the other side of that dust. So it couldn't be recognized, and people did not really sense the danger until the storm was directly upon them. Now, another real heartbreaking part about this story is that farmers who are very weather wise, and normally in North American history, it is very rare to have a farm owner killed by a tornado. Now, it is true. A lot of people have truly died in rural areas, but very few are farm owners. They are extremely weather-wise people. 30 farm owners died in this tornado throughout southeastern Illinois and southwestern Indiana. So continuing on to the next town, Parrish, 3:05 p.m., just 6 miles to the northeast. The scene of death and destruction repeated itself in the town of Parrish. This town is often, now interestingly, this town is often overlooked on the tornado track in the Williamson County community to be struck, which was a viable community at the time. The town, which consisted of roughly 250 residents and 40 buildings at the time, suffered a 27% casualty rate and lost all but 3 of its buildings: one house, the Primitive Methodist Church, and the Parrish School. Half a mile east of Parrish, the home of Randall Smith was obliterated. Randall and a relative, William Biggs, survived the tornado by clinging to a small grove of trees until the storm passed. Randall was blinded, and his wife was badly injured. And once again, sadly, their 7-year-old daughter, Haiti, was killed. Isabel Lanius was blown northeast from her home and landed on the southeast edge of the Charles Woodrow property. Oh, and also this picture right here, I believe that might be of, that's William Biggs. That is him actually demonstrate. He's not dead, obviously. He's demonstrating how he was able to cling on to that tree while the tornado was going over. And as far as I know, because this town is, like I said, was often overlooked, these are probably the only aftermath pictures of the town of Parrish. Technically, this picture right here is really more West Frankfort, but far in the background is nearby Parrish. So these are the only 2 pictures I have of Parrish. But Isabel Lanius, like I said, she landed on the southeast edge of the Charles Woodrow property. Unfortunately, she was killed also. Her son was injured with his ear almost cut off. Several dozen additional homes. Yeah, they're even those that survived, they suffered gruesome injuries. I mean, when you hear about tornadoes, most of the time when people have been injured or killed, it's either they were hit by flying debris, and it usually, gave them a concussion, broken bone, or just a blunt, some type of blunt force use, or they were crushed to death. You don't really hear too often when it comes to tornadoes, like slicing people or cutting people like the way this one did. So that's why I said before, this one's going to be quite graphic compared to many others. Several dozen additional homes were destroyed as the tornado tore a mile-wide path toward the Hamilton County border. WB Records mentioned that a clock stopped in Parrish at 3:07 p.m. Trees along Ewing Creek were reportedly debarked and shredded, and several horses and a buggy near the William Branch School was blown away. Over 90% of Parrish was destroyed. As the tornado destroyed all of the town's means of outside communication, the disaster was only discovered by a passing Illinois Central train, which returned to Thompsonville to notify the surrounding towns. 28 lives were lost in the small mining village, as virtually every structure was leveled and injuring 60, 5 of whom later died, bringing the total death toll to 33. Between Gorham and Parrish, the tornado carved a path of destruction through 47 miles of southern Illinois. This is probably the most shocking part of this more than anything else. I know you guys weren't here for the first part, but in just 40 minutes, the tornado killed at least 541 people, injured nearly 1,500, and produced $11.8 million in damage, just over $1 billion in today's money. The storm continued to devastate more rural areas in the eastern side of the county, claiming another 6 lives. In all, the storm claimed 192 lives in Franklin County, 159 the immediate impacts, and another 33 among the injured in the following weeks. The tornado proceeded to I don't know if did I already say it? No, never mind. Okay. The tornado proceeded to devastate additional rural areas across Hamilton and White counties between the two counties. Okay, by 1925, the mining industry that defined much of southwestern Illinois had lost its grip in Hamilton and White counties. Though a handful of small mines still dotted the pancake flat land, farming had grown to become the driving force of the local economy. The area was rural, but hardly unpopulated. Farmhouses were scattered along every road throughout both counties. The tornado thundered into Hamilton County shortly after 3:10 p.m. and almost immediately continued its path of destruction. Ollie Flanagan's home and barn was destroyed, killing her and her brother Sam. A photograph from the Flanagan home was later found in Bone Cap, 50 miles to the northeast. Just to the east, Columbus Hicks and his daughter-in-law Martha were killed when the family farmhouse was swept away. Lonnie Smith's farmhouse was also obliterated, killing four in the Smith family and severely injuring another. A home was destroyed to the southeast of the main path by a brief but strong satellite tornado, which some people don't know. A satellite tornado, that's when you have, if you've seen videos like where you have a smaller tornado rotating around like a larger one, that hence its name a satellite twister. So that would have been a separate twister itself. As the tornado charged across Hamilton County south of McLeansboro, the tornado reached its greatest width at 1.5 miles wide. So this thing was huge. I mean, this was a monster. It's when it becomes very, very large like that, it becomes known as to what we refer to as a wedge tornado, which is the big mile wide tornado, which again, it means a monster on the ground. Dozens of farms, homes, schools, and churches were swept away. 28 people were killed, and 9 more were mortally wounded. Olga, 3:18 p.m. In the small community of Olga, several homes were damaged or destroyed. A church was moderately damaged, and the Olga school was blown off its foundation. Numerous trees were heavily damaged just southwest of town. To the northeast of the Parker's Prairie School, one student was thrown into a strand of trees and killed, and Wesley Chuck, who had arrived at the school to pick up his children, was also thrown by the tornado and killed. A short distance east of the school, Shalon Creek had gone south to a neighbor's home when they noticed billowing black clouds in the distance. Shalon watched from the neighbor's porch as the violently rotating wedge tornado bore down on his property and ripped his home from its foundation. His wife, stepdaughter, and brother were in the home at the time, and all 3 were killed. Immediately east of the Cheek family home, the Lick Creek Bridge was lifted and thrown 300 feet into the creek. A patch of young trees and shrubs were stripped and uprooted, and grass was scoured from the ground, the Lawrence Dolan farm. At least a dozen people were killed nearby. The tornado continued an unbroken path of destruction into White County. One Hamilton County farm had its concrete walkways blown out of the ground by the tornado. Just southeast of the town of Enfield, the Trousdale School collapsed on the students inside and then was swept away. Now, this picture right here that I just brought up, this is not a real picture. It is, in fact, an artist's impression of supposedly what the actual tornado looked like. So this may be as close as we will ever see to what this tornado truly looked like. And according to the artist who made this painting, this is when it was hitting Trousdale School. And that is the aftermath of Trousdale School right there. Reportedly, all but one of the students was seriously injured. Throughout the Enfield area, dozens of homes were destroyed and swept away. 15 people were killed, and several dozen others were injured. A thick 18-acre patch of wood near the C.S. Conger farm was almost entirely sapped and uprooted. Just to the north of the damaged path, there were reports of hail as large as 3 to 4 inches, occasionally so heavy that it covered the ground. Several eyewitnesses in this area described the tornado as a rolling black mass swirling with thousands of pieces of debris. In some cases, the approach of the tornado was preceded by pieces of debris raining from the sky. Oh, yes, this is probably the last amount. These are additional pictures that I was able to copy from an actual storm chaser on Facebook. And he posted these on the actual anniversary. And this once again shows of what this tornado may have looked like. And I think we could all agree it just looks like a giant cloud on the ground, doesn't it? I think I got at least 3 or 4 pictures. Oh, wait, actually, no, I think that was the last one. Okay, never mind. So in White County, oh, sorry, were you going to say something, Mary? I thought I heard you.
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind. In White County, the tornado passed just 2 miles north of Carmi. At the Newman School, several miles northwest of Carmi, teacher Jasper Mossberger noticed the skies had become dark and menacing. Sheets of rain spattered the windows, and a stiff wind rattled the door and threatened to blow it open. The students huddled around their teacher to hold the door against the approaching storm. Within moments, the roaring wind shattered the flimsy building and reduced it to rubble. And that is a photograph of it right there. Nearly every child was injured, some critically, but amazingly all survived. Teacher Jasper Mossberger unfortunately was not as lucky. Jasper initially survived, but died weeks later from complications of his injuries. Next door to the school, a mother and small child were killed when their home was destroyed and they were thrown into a ditch several hundred yards away. Continuing ceaselessly to the northeast, the tornado chewed up dozens of homes, schools, and churches scattered throughout central and eastern White County. Just southeast of Crossville, several cars were blown from the state road, and train cars were blown off the tracks nearby. The Graves School was completely decimated, and several students were from the wreckage. As in Murfreesboro and elsewhere, wrecked homes and their occupants occasionally faced further danger from tipped-over coal stoves that ignited the shattered piles of wood and debris. The village of Crossville itself was spared, but those immediately to the south were not so lucky. The number of deaths vary, but several homes were completely destroyed in the area. In total, 45 residents of Hamilton and White counties were killed and injuring 149, 20 of whom later died, including the 30 farm owners, bringing the total count to 65. Another 18 were killed, and 11 of those later died as a result of their injuries. The exceptional intensity, forward speed, and unusually and occasionally obscured appearance conspired to catch even the most weather-wise farm owners off guard. Altogether, and we're about to get to the finals. We're about to get to the next chapter, but altogether within southern Illinois alone, at least 613 died. The tornadic deaths within a state in U.S. history, and 1,423 were injured in Illinois. The tornado continues to move northeast, just missing the towns of Enfield and Crossville by just a few hundred yards. The monstrous vortex had already done the worst of its terrible work, but still more was to come upon, as there was still one final state in its path, crossing the Wabash River to Indiana, Griffin, Indiana. Just before 4 p.m., the twister raced across the Wabash River just north of New Harmony, destroying homes on both banks and bore down on the little village of Griffin, Indiana. Measuring only a half a mile north to south with a population of 400, Griffin was no match for the massive mile-wide tempest. A number of farm homes to south and west of town were immediately swept clean. As you can see from these additional pictures, at Bethel Township School, the school's only bus had left to deliver half the children on the west part of town before circling back to pick up the others. And that is an actual picture of Bethel Township before the tornado. I wasn't, for whatever reason, I couldn't find a picture of it, what it looked like afterwards, but that is what the school looked like before the tornado. As the bus made its final stop to drop off the Vanway children, Harry, Ellen, Helen, and Evelyn on their way home from school, bus driver Chick Aller noticed objects of various sizes falling from the sky. Within seconds, the massive funnel barreled across Matt's road, tossing and tumbling the bus and tearing at the sheet metal exterior. When the bus came to rest in a nearby field, the mangled frame rested atop two children who had been crushed beneath it. Harry and Helen Vanway were caught in the violent storm of debris just outside their home. Harry was struck in the head by a flying timber and killed instantly, while Helen was gravely injured and died within hours. Okay, pictures were supposed to fade in, but it doesn't matter. In Griffin proper, the destruction was complete. As in Gorham, 100% of the structures in town were damaged or destroyed, most of them leveled. Eyewitnesses described a very large multi-vortex tornado that produced several funnels that moved around and then came together, which, again, saying that it's a multiple vortex tornado, that's when you have several smaller vortices rotating around the main funnel. And it's pretty much a tornado within a tornado. And those tornadoes can be quite destructive, as they could add an additional 100 miles per hour to the main funnel. Several stores, gas station, a theater, an electric light plant, and several churches were also destroyed. The large brick Bethel Township School was heavily damaged, but not destroyed. Many of the structures that escaped heavy damage from the initial strike of the tornado were destroyed when one sub-vortex reportedly wrapped around the southwest flank and raked eastern and central portions of the town. Dark, fine silt and mud picked up from the Wabash River as the tornado crossed it, plastered to both people and homes. Several poles were snapped just above ground level, and the railroad tracks were once again pulled from the ground and bent at odd angles. In the few seconds it took the tornado to plow through the 3-block width of Griffin, a full 60% of its 400 citizens were counted among the casualties, including dozens of fatalities. Not a single structure was left untouched by the storm, and many were completely swept away. 41 people were killed in Griffin and in the surrounding areas. Another 202 were injured, with 5 later dying, bringing the death toll at Griffin to 46. Oops, I got a fan, but yeah, got more pictures for you guys that I could provide of them basically being able to tell the story of them, have them speak for themselves. So look at that. Nothing is left standing at all. Gone. Now, the other thing, too, to kind of bring up about these pictures, even though a lot of this debris is kind of scattered about, there's other areas, however, where it's just wiped out completely. I mean, there's even some areas where not only where the house is destroyed to where there's nothing left standing, but where the debris is carried away. So it felt like almost as if something just came in, ripped everything apart, and then just bulldozed it. Okay, so these next pictures here got quite the amount here too. Yeah, you can really see the amount of devastation. These ones really look like war photos. This picture right here on the bottom left house on its side, I think this ended up becoming kind of a famous picture, which has been used numerous times, like with documentaries and any Facebook pages involving this tornado. Oh, yes. Okay, so now this gives me a little break. I have a video here that I'm going to play, and this is one of those clips that features a survivor who lived in Griffin. This was originally filmed back in 2005, and this was from a news clip. So I'm going to play it for you guys. This gives me a little break because I definitely could use some water right now. But let me know, and also let me know if you guys could hear the clip. I'm going to just do a quick test play, and just tell me if you guys can hear it. guys hear anything? You guys hear?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, this was filmed back in 2005. Obviously, this was when it was the 80th anniversary of this tornado.
A sleepy little town in southwestern Indiana with 80 houses, a place to get some gas, and a population of about 160 friendly people. The Griffin, Indiana of 2005 is different than Griffin in 1925. That's because 80 years ago, Griffin was flattened, 100% destroyed by the worst tornado in American history. Probably, maybe about 10 months. Evelyn Stone was 7 years old on March 18th, 1925, and remembers the day well.
It was balmy. It wasn't hot and it wasn't cold. Of course, this is March, you know. And the day seemed okay till about 4 o'clock, and then it began to cloud up.
With the gathering clouds came an ominous sound.
Yes, it was a big roaring. I remember that. Yes, it roared. Yes, like a train.
There was little time to react as the monster storm approached. Evelyn's mother scrambled to save her children.
And she hollered for my older sister to get the baby out of the window. And she did. It blew right out.
The tornado came without warning, and nobody knew what to do.
Of course, the kids that was left in the school, they weren't safe either. But they had a basement to go to, and they didn't know to go to, I don't guess.
This is all that is left of the old school, and a plaque nearby that names the 76 people killed in Griffin that day. The tornado had crossed the Wabash and was a 300-mile-per-hour whirling mass of mud and debris when it hit Griffin. The people who weren't killed were lost, including Evelyn's father.
And he was standing at the front door, and of course the front fell in on him. That's when he got hurt, and we didn't know anything about it.
After the tornado, fires broke out, and the tragic events continued to unfold.
The grocery store owner's boy was there, and it caught a fire, and they couldn't get out. They screamed and hollered and save me, save me. Nobody could get. So they died.
Survivors were taken to makeshift shelters, and the reality of the event began to unfold.
I just didn't think it'd ever be the same. But to me, it just, well, it was disastrous. That's all there was to it.
Today, Griffin has mostly rebuilt. And while this remains the greatest tornado disaster in American history, time has allowed for some embellishments.
I heard one person say that they seen a mule flying through the air with the 2x4 through it. Now, believe it or not.
Evelyn Stone survived the worst tornado ever, but not all scars are physical.
Every time they would come on radio or television talking about a tornado headed our way, I'd break out in hives.
Evelyn Stone is one of only 3 people alive today in Griffin who can tell us what it was like to live through the great tri-state tornado of 1925. Evelyn Stone, a true survivor.
Can I believe I have at least one more clip? Yeah, this is it. This is from another documentary. Again, it's just a short clip. This was from a documentary that was made over 10 years ago. And wait, hang on 1 second here, Lois. Oh, shoot, guys. Hang on, I just saw what Lois said. We need to cut and redo the show.
It's coming through a little bit choppy on my end, like it's speeding up.
Here too.
So,
Honestly, Nick, I thought it was my new tablet, but it sounds like you've literally took speed and you went.
Yep. Yeah, like the clip just. You can hear what
Lots of dropping out too.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even notice, honestly.
Well,
No, it's not, Nick, don't get upset about it, right? These things happen.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I just thought it was my new tablet. But then I was thinking, this is a new tablet that Stephen's just bought. So I'm like thinking, I'll kind of thing me. So don't worry about it. Don't fret, right?
Don't stress over it.
Yeah.
Right? Don't lose any sleep over it.
No, not
Right.
at all.
At the end of the day, what we'll do is, guys, even if we have to, we could do it next Friday
Mm.
and do again. Obviously it's no through fault. Day. What we could do is we could do the first half of your slideshow, Nick. Excuse me. And then we could do the time slip.
Oh gosh, Willow.
Time
Jeez.
slip.
Bless
Just
you.
type.
Type it out. Type it out. Don't shut your voice.
No,
What-
don't worry.
what-
We know what you're saying.
Yeah. We'll do a repeat of the first half and then second half again.
Yeah. Right, guys, we will cut it here because I'm gonna go and have to say bye bye to this show. I hate doing this. Fix my head doing this.
Just one thing. Nick, do you know if any of those areas that were hit were cheese farms?
There might have been. I know a lot of the farms may have been, because again, we're talking, Southern Illinois and Indiana here. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were like any cheese or dairy farms.
Yeah, because that way there would have been the debris everywhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Debris.
Although what I would have, I didn't know about these technical issues. I was going to talk about a factory that was going to be coming up, but I'd rather save the details, for next.
I am so sorry, Nick.
It's fine.
It's not your fault though.
It's not
Nick's fault
not
either.
anyone's fault. Yeah.
No.
But you guys were able. Well, when you were saying about the sound issue,
Right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to cut this show, right, guys?
Okay.
We'll catch you up soon.
Yeah.
What we'll do is, I'll delete this, guys. I'm so sorry. I do apologise.
Right.
But we will see you next week. Bye bye, everyone.
We'll try again next week. See you later.
Bye. Bye.